Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm DJ Sixsmith. You're watching The Sit Down. Welcome to the program, Mike Bibby. What's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing really well. It's good to talk to you. Good to talk about some hoops. There's a lot of serious stuff going on in the world, but got to talk basketball. You know, the Last Dance been filling up our time. So, how's everything on your end?
It's good. I've been watching The Last Dance too. It's always Jordan's been the guy. So you always want to try to see how it was. Yeah, I played the game, and I've been at that level, not the level he's been at, but I've been in NBA team, the camaraderie and stuff. But just to see what they went through and the type of level he was at, it was just good to watch. It's good TV.
It's really great TV. And he just took winning so seriously, winning number one. Like, what was it to you that stuck out the most about the way that Mike played the game?
It's just that he dominated. He did whatever it had to do to win games. And a lot of people don't get that nowadays to where, well, I scored 30 points, I scored 35 points, but are you winning?
Mm-hmm.
He was doing it and winning at the same time. That's what it's about. I learned that when I got to Sacramento, and everything matters when you win. Everybody looks good when you win. And that's the same kind of thing that Michael Jordan took, to where even the guy he had was on the lower levels than him. They won 5 championships, 6, 7 championships. Steve Kerr won 5 championships, however many championships he won, but he wasn't on the level as Jordan, but he still has that as well. It just shows that winning is the main thing that, people need to look forward to.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was thinking, going back to the 70s with your dad, your basketball knowledge must be pretty expansive. What are your earliest memories of just watching hoops and playing hoops?
I was young when my dad was coming toward the end of his career, but I just always knew that basketball was my thing. I played football, I played baseball, and baseball was too slow. Football landed on my neck, and I knew football wasn't for me. And I just knew basketball was just where I let everything go. I took it in stride, and I just played. I went to practice, make sure I had McDonald's or Burger King after practice, and I just played back. I just had fun with it. That's all it was to me at that time. But when I got to high school, I just figured what? Let me see if I could get to school. I'm gonna try to get to college. And then after I got to college, once I got to Arizona, I was like, you know what? No one's gonna stop me from getting to where I want to be. And Josh Passon, I praise him to this day. He was in the gym for me from the first day I got to U of A, and it was just me and him in the gym. And we're making 300 shots a piece. It was just me and him. After a while, I was like, Josh, you're not shooting no more. You got to rebound for me. Josh knew he wanted to be a coach, and that's what it was. And just, I figured with it, you got to put the work in to get to be. And I understand once I got to college. I didn't really understand that once I was in high school. So, as you get older, you realize what's going on.
You start to take it a little bit more seriously. Obviously, getting to Arizona changes that. Who else was in the mix besides U of A before you ended up going there?
So my top three. So my second was UCLA. It was close to home. I didn't want to go too far. I was a kind of a mama's boy. So Duke was third. So the only official visit I took was U of A, and I just figured I took an unofficial visit to UCLA. They handed my name when I got there. I felt, smiling and all that stuff, but it was a 6-7 hour drive, and U of A, hour 15 minutes at the most. And I never washed clothes. I never did laundry. I never did anything. So I was like, I got to have to do my laundry. So I made sure my mom was close enough to where my mom came down every weekend. I take my clothes back home. She washed for the weekend, come back. So every week, I knew what I was doing. I was trying to make it cater to me. To be a mama's boy, but still be away from.
Yeah, you had a good situation there and not too far from home. And then you guys obviously won. And winning a national championship is a huge deal. You're Pac-10 Player of the Year. When you think about Arizona and playing for Lute Olson, what is the most memorable part of that experience?
Just being with the guys. I still talk to a lot of the guys that are on the team. You make friendships through college. Everybody still. Miles, AJ, JT, Mike Dickerson. You go all the way down the line. you still make friendships with these guys that 20 years ago, 22 years ago, 20 however long ago it was, that whenever it goes down, if something goes down, hey, uh, let's meet up. Let's go do this. Let's go have some drinks. Let's go do this. And it's always acceptable with everybody. And everybody knows that. Like, college is a one-time thing. Like, I don't know, like G League's doing a different thing today to where they're bringing kids out of high school. I don't know much about that, but it's just good to have friends that you could go back to. Like, hey, we did a couple months together, and we did what we had to do. We won a championship. A lot of teams don't win championships, and we did it. We still have friendships with these guys today.
That's really special, and it was a great experience for you. So you go from Arizona, and then you're plopped right into the middle of Canada and Vancouver. Like, that must have been insane for you, man. Those teams were not the greatest in the world, let's put it that way. So when you think about the Vancouver Grizzlies, what comes to mind immediately for you?
It was hard. I mean, like I think that I had to go through that to make it where I am today. And I appreciate it. I still talk to some of the people that I worked in Vancouver. Noah Kroom, Debbie Budd, all those people that we worked with back then, still talk to a little bit today. And I think I had to go through that just to get to where I am today. And I'm thankful for going to Vancouver. The fans were great. We didn't win much games. I probably wouldn't have come seen us either. But I mean, we tried. There's a lot of games that we were in, but we're a young team. Our veterans were Sharif Abdurrahim at 21 years old, Country Reeves at 22, 23. So they built the guys. Like, I mean, I'll go to war with these guys today. And just the fact that we didn't have – the only thing that we were missing was probably experience. And, to this day, those guys did what they had to do.
Yeah, I mean, you saw later in your career just the value of having veterans on a team, guys that have actually been in games and played in serious moments. Like, some of these teams just want to rebuild and throw out 18, 19, 20-year-olds, but it's just not going to work out the same way.
It's not. And like I said, I played 3 years in Vancouver. We started out 4-4 one year and ended up beating 42. So, I mean, like it's tough. Like, they don't understand it where every day I just got drafted when I was 20, moving to a different country. It was tough for me and my family. I had my son, I had my daughter born at the time when I was playing there, and it was just tough for a 20-year-old kid. And like I said, I wouldn't change anything to this day, but it was hard for me when we were doing that situation.
I mean, things obviously get a lot better when you go to Sacramento. So you wanted to play in Sacramento. You get to Sacramento. Why was it the team for you?
I just think – so this happened for Michael Heisley, the owner, rest in peace, Michael Heisley, for the Grizzlies. He knew they were about to move. And he came to me, he's like, Mike, we're about to move. I know you're looking for a trade. Give me 5 teams you want to go to. And, I gave him Phoenix, of course, because I'm from Phoenix. And Sacramento was another team that I gave him. So now he was like, what's the top team you want to go to? I said, Sacramento. He's like, okay. And he never told me anything after that. And the draft came up, and I remember it was like probably 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm shooting at the LA Fitness, and somebody called my brother, and they were like, "Your brother just got traded to Sacramento." They're like, "No, we didn't hear that. No one heard that." So I went to my car. I got my phone. I seen 2 calls from a Sacramento number and a Vancouver number, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I guess it happened." I called my agent. He was like, "Yeah, we're gonna work on it. We're working on it, whatever." And it happened, and I didn't even know how to celebrate. It was just a life-changing situation that happened. So I think everything happens for a reason, and it was the one great situation that happened to me.
Yeah, it was a really interesting situation because Sacramento is a team on the rise. You're one of those guys who really becomes more of a shoot-first point guard in an era when being a guy that's dropping dimes is still the case. So when did you realize you had something special with the Kings?
from the first day I got there. The guys, they treated me like I was there for like 5, 6, 7 years. And I got there, Jason Williams was a prized possession in Sacramento, and getting traded from, I just wanted to fit in. I didn't know if the fans would like me or the team would like me. When I came in, I just, like, let me see. I don't have to do nothing. My agent told me, David Falk just told me, just go in, fit in. You don't have to score 25 points a game. Just go and fit in. I averaged 13 points my first year, and this thing, like, we won. We had the best record in the West. And the thing was just go fit in, and the guys made me feel special where when you come in, I was treated different. When I came in, it felt like I'd been there the whole time. And, that's what made me feel comfortable and made me play the way I did. I could go in there and feel comfortable. That was the biggest thing for me.
You've played with a lot of really talented guys, but Steve Webb was doing his thing at that point in his career. What was it like playing with him and really just the two of you guys blowing things up to the next level?
I mean, just, Webb's alpha dog. And, I mean, we everybody on the team knew that. That's what made our team so special, like, to where I played on teams to where if guys didn't get their points, they were the same guys. And when I was with Sacramento, no matter where the points, as long as we won, the guys the same way. And that's the way basketball is supposed to play. That's the best time of my life, best time of my career, being in Sacramento, playing with those guys. And no one had egos. Even though Webb was the alpha dog, Webb never had an ego. Webb was trying to win. That was the main thing for us.
Yeah, you guys pushed the Lakers harder than anybody during that time period. How about the game winner against the Lakers in the playoffs? What do you remember from that night? Because that must have been one of the coolest moments of your career.
I mean, it was just like I said, like, Webb was the alpha dog. And I remember coming out of the huddle, and I just told Webb, I said, Webb, if you don't shoot it, give it to me, I'm going to knock it down. And that's the way our team was, to where Webb felt comfortable enough to pass the ball to where I could take care of my business. That's the way our team was.
When you guys were going up against the Lakers, I mean, it was peak Shaq, peak Kobe. What was the toughest part about just those grueling series they had in year out with those guys?
It was just fun to play there. I mean, just the playing against, I think Shaq and Kobe are probably the top 4 players to ever play in the game. I mean, just to see that how dominant both of them were, and Kobe being another version of Jordan, just a little bit younger or whatever. And Shaq, I think Shaq's probably most dominant big man that's ever played the game, besides Will. I mean, when you have to change rules for you, that means that you're doing something special.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And so between Shaq and Will, I mean that it's a big deal. For me to play in that situation is just fulfilling your dream.
The 0-2 Kings, how many games did you guys win? You guys had like the best record in the league, right?
I think we were the 2001. I think the first year there. I think we were 61-21.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. Are those Kings teams the best teams you played on? Because, like, you hit the Heat later on, and obviously LeBron and Wade, but, like, where do those teams rank?
I think Sacramento is probably the best team I played on. But, I mean, you go through different situations, and they traded me to Atlanta. I took the older man role when I went to Atlanta, playing with Al Horford, Josh Smith, Joe Johnson, Marvin Williams. You got all these guys that are younger, that tasted winning in college maybe, but not in the NBA. So I try to bring the same knowledge that I had from Sacramento and just have fun. Let's try to play games. Let's go out to dinner. Let's do this and stuff that I learned from Sacramento. And I think it kind of helped everybody get together in Atlanta.
I think another big part of it, too, is that you didn't have the ego where you're like, no, I'm still going to be the guy. Like, you realized you were in that next chapter. You're like, I'm going to help these guys. I'm still going to get my buckets, but it's your turn. So how does that all happen for you as you go from Sac to
like I said, I learned that from Sacramento. Like, I played with Jamal Crawford, and Jamal Crawford, I remember him telling me, like, I want to start, Mike. I said, Jamal, you're probably the best 6 you ever played the game. You're getting all these things. You finished the game. I start, but you finished. There's nothing wrong with it. I have no problem watching the screen. I have no problem with it. And I learned that from being in Sacramento. And I think Jamal learned that. I was a little older. I'm older than Jamal, but he understood that. Okay, I get it. I'm playing 35 minutes a game, but I'll come off the bench. You're finishing the game, Jamal. It's okay. You know what I mean? He still talked about to this day, you know, averaging scored 50 points in his last game in his 20th season. So, you know what I mean? They'll see, you know, once you tell them.
I think those Hawks teams kind of get lost in translation because the Celtics were obviously great back then, LeBron and the Cavs. What made those teams really good in your mind?
Just the veteranship that they had. You know, like when we took the Celtics to 7 games, we were all young. I think it was Al Horford's first year.
Right.
Like I said, Josh Smith out of high school, probably played 3 or 4 years. We were younger than them. But I mean, we didn't bow down to them. And I think that's what made it go 7 the way we played. We didn't bow down to them.
Do you ever wonder if you had met up with LeBron and Wade, like more towards the beginning of your career? Like if you were Mike Bibby from, you know, 01, 02 and had been on that Heat team, like that would have been pretty wild.
When I was supposed to get traded from Sacramento to Cleveland instead of Atlanta. I got traded to Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were working on trade from Sacramento to Cleveland. It didn't happen. So I forget what year it was. It was the year before I got traded. All the years get mixed up to me. So, the year before I got traded, I was supposed to go to Cleveland. And then that next year, okay, I'm about to go to Cleveland again. And it didn't happen. I'm going to Atlanta. So those 2 years, the year I got traded to Atlanta and the year before, I was supposed to go to Cleveland.
Wow.
And there was I talked to Kobe. I was supposed to go to LA. But it didn't happen. The Maloofs didn't want to trade me to the Lakers. But the year before that, I was supposed to go to the Lakers.
Wow. So those are some really interesting what-ifs in your career. Yeah,
I mean, you never know what. Like I said, I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm glad the path that I took, and I wouldn't change it for nothing. You know, I played with, you know, probably the top 2 or 3 person with D-Wade and LeBron. I'm glad the route that I took. I would never change anything.
So why don't we skip forward to Miami, because it's year 1 of the big 3, and those guys come together, and it's such a big deal. And there was a lot of pressure that year too. And one of the things you guys had in Sacramento is that you had time to build things out. Same thing with Atlanta. Like Miami was supposed to win all of it in year 1. What was the craziest part of that experience for you?
I don't know if I was there in year 1, but I got there probably – I got traded from Atlanta to Washington. I played 2 games in Washington. And I was probably in Miami for probably 3 months, 4 months. And I mean, that was probably the toughest year. That was probably the toughest part of my career. You know, there's a lot of pressure on me. There's a lot of pressure for me to make shots. There's a lot of pressure for everything. And I mean, like I said, I wouldn't change anything. I liked the situation I was in. I left a lot of money on the table to go play there. And like I said, I mean, I don't think I fit it in there. And, you know, I'm upset that I didn't win a championship there. But, I mean, it's just great getting to meet those guys, you know, LeBron, D-Wade, Bosh, playing for Pat Riley, Spoelstra, all those guys that I met. You know, I still got friendships on those guys' team today.
I think it's tough to incorporate your game after you get there late. There's so many different guys wanting to shoot the rock too. And it's like, how do we make this all work? And I think that was the thing in year 1 for Miami that they really struggled with.
I mean, like I said, I don't know the year 1 when I was doing the thing what we had, and when I got, you know, I was just fit in, trying to make shots, trying to do this, and I mean, it didn't work out. My agent told me, I'm gonna try to get you back there again. I said, David, I don't think there's a place for me. And you know, I was ready to retire, and you know, Mike Woodson went to New York, and he called me up, and he's like, "Hey, come play out here." I was like, "Oh, I think I'm done." He was like, "Just come out and play out here." I just played another year in New York, and you know, I mean, I just knew it was done. I didn't have that drive anymore, you know.
I feel you. I'm a Knicks fan, so it was fun seeing you play for the Knickerbockers. Your dad obviously played, so that must have been really special for you. You guys have to be like one of the only father-son combos to ever play for the franchise.
I mean, I don't think we might have to look that up, but I mean, it was different. I always looked at it like New York was the mecca of basketball, and the fans are rough. The fans are rough. I loved it, though. I mean, just being out there and playing for them. But I knew I was done already. I already knew I was done playing.
Well, you got to watch Linsanity, so that was pretty cool. I mean, what was the wildest part of that experience?
it's just amazing just going out there. But it's a funny thing how it worked out to where I was hurt, Darren Davis was hurt, and they brought Jeremy in Oakland, and there's nothing Darren could do, and they had to keep him. And so when he was in New York, and he just, I mean, he went ballistic. He was doing everything, and I mean, it was crazy. I went to the mall one time, and then he's the only jersey I see in the store. There was no Amari jerseys, there's no Carmelo jerseys, there's no Tyson Chandler jerseys. There's all Jeremy Lin jerseys, and it was just a amazing part of that happened. You know, I mean, that's gonna go down in history. You know, you put him. The numbers that he had is the same as Magic Johnson's, Michael Jordan's. In the first 5 games in his career, he had those same numbers, probably even better.
Yeah. So you knew at that point that it was the end of the road, and like it was still pretty early in your 30s that happened. So what was the toughest part about
35? I was 35 maybe.
Right. So mid-30s. You know, some guys today are trying to play a little bit later, but you knew you were done. So what was it like stepping away from basketball? Just like you're still coaching, you're still doing all that, but just starting that next chapter of your life.
It was rough. I mean, the camaraderie is the best thing for me. Being around the guys and just going to dinner and hanging out with the guys was the best thing for me. And I know I was playing, and it was tough. But I knew when I came back to school, 'cause my son was a freshman in high school, and you know, I just okay, maybe I could coach. I tried to help the team, and then next year when he was a sophomore, I became coach of the high school. And I figured, you know what? I coached him since he was 9 years old, so he was probably 15, 14. So I've been coaching for the AAU for 5 years already. So my main thing was to just try to get these kids better and try to teach them the right way to play basketball, like the same way I learned. And I mean, the kids they were learning it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a different game now too compared to when you were playing in the league. It must be pretty interesting to coach.
But it's still everything got one main goal. That's to win. Yep. You know, so you just teach them how to win and just play together and have fun. That's all you can do.
I think that's a perfect place to leave it. Mike, thanks so much for hanging out today. Be well, and we'll talk to you down the road, all right?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.